Okay, connecting, and it's recording. So welcome to the first interim of 2020. Another decade of CBOR.
Right.
Okay.
This is the decade of CBOR.
No, that's the last decade.
The CBOR decade. Like the Bronze Age.
Yes. So the agenda for today is just to see, to have a status update from Carsten about what's the status of CBOR base working group last call, and then if we can talk through if there's anything we can do about the issues left. Was hoping to have Jeffrey here, but he doesn't seem to be connecting. So let's just start.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So as I said before the meeting started, my laptop broke. I got a new one, and I found out it's a bigger problem in the Mac world to switch from High Sierra to Catalina than I thought. So I'm starting to get productive again this week, and I have started to grind at the various issues again. And right now I have processed Jeffrey's review. I still have to process Francesca's review, and of course we still have a number of issues outstanding that where we need text, in particular the map validity issue that probably is the most difficult one to work on. But there's also interesting input coming from implementers. So if you look at the issue list, then you can find a comment or a couple of comments from a guy called Montgomery Edwards, which I think is not his real name because his handle is X448. So we know what Montgomery and Edwards mean for 448. Anyway, he has put up some pretty good questions from an implementer's point of view, and I think we have to take a position on some of these issues where we were pretty wishy-washy previously. So that's in particular the 156, which really brings up the issue of generic decoders and encoders and reasonable defaults for them. So you don't have to touch your generic decoder for every new application protocol, which would be really bad. And Jeffrey's review also brought up some issues that fall into this generic decoder bucket. So I think that the apart from the map key issue, which by the way also essentially is shaped by generic decoder issues, we have a few more generic decoder or codec issues that we may want to look at. And I also think what Montgomery Edwards has started, we need to do with other implementers as well. So we still need this outreach phase. I have done a little bit of outreach, but not very much. And there are more than 50 implementations, the implementers of which we could talk to. So I would expect they will have some input, but it's probably useful to do this outreach at a time when we have developed a initial position on the generic codec issues. So that's the sequence of things for me. Get those pull requests out there, get a new consistent version, and then do the outreach thing. And I think that kind of means we will have a second work group last call because there are so many things going on at the moment.
are you saying that this second working group, I agree with you. Are you saying that the second working group last call would have to be after we reach out to other implementers and
Well,
include
maybe
whatever comments?
this can be overlapped.
So they could give comments at the same time as.
Yes, the implementer input would be solicited at the time where we do the second working group last call. So they essentially can do their working group last call input, but we probably need a little bit of head start on the implementer reach out. But that's okay because we will spend some time polishing this before we go into the next working group last call. So again, I think we need to develop a position on things that implementers really are interested in, and then we can start the reach out. And while we are doing this, we can do wonderful things like review the MIME registrations and update the list of changes and things like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Now remind me what issue 138 was.
138. Check as well. 138. I think we decided on closing that one, didn't we? Doing the interim.
Yeah, I merged the pull requests. Yeah, generally, Lawrence, it would be good if you could occasionally do a review, even if we have closed the issue. So you brought up this issue. I just wanted to merge the thing because it becomes difficult to juggle pervasive changes. You get lots of Git conflicts if you have pervasive changes.
You're referring to 138?
Yeah, the enclosed versus tag content thing.
Okay.
I think I understood what you were asking to do, and I think I mostly did it, but of course only you really know what you wanted us to do. And so if you can have occasionally, it's not a high priority thing, but if you can occasionally have a review of that, it's not much to do there.
So there is the pull request that now is closed, but that should make it easier to review what text was changed.
Yeah, I can see it here.
Yeah, great. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but generally, I think it's important that if we actually hand out some review requests, that people are aware of that and actually respond to that. We are only doing that when we think we really need those reviews.
The people are aware. I didn't understand you.
So, for instance, the most recent pull request I put in, this has a review request for Jeffrey. Now, if he doesn't get around to reviewing this, at some point we will merge it anyway. But that's not the best way to handle this. It would be better if we actually got the review.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I don't expect Jeffrey to put his one in, but just as a reminder, these reviews are really useful to make progress.
I mean, the best way I think would be to actually mail him directly. Some people do not see request review on GitHub. I'm not even sure I would see it if I didn't get the mail from GitHub. But yeah, in that case, we can ping Jeffrey directly. I think that would be much more effective. So I think you replied to him in the mailing, like in the mailing list.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe did you also CC him directly?
Yes. So I don't want to make a specific point of Jeffrey not doing his homework. He certainly does.
No.
I wanted to use this as an example for
Everybody is very much volunteer here, so
yes.
you know. It's yeah. But no, what I'm saying is to make sure that he has seen the email, because yeah, mailing list emails can get lost in folders, and notifications from GitHub can get lost. So
yeah, so I sent a direct message to him on 1643, which you should have a CC for.
okay, yeah.
Unfortunately, the chairs alias is broken for me because my mail installation here has working SPF now, and all the chairs and draft aliases break with SPF.
Well, this case is not a problem, but yeah, my email, my Outlook is not updating anyway for some reason, so I haven't seen the last 2 hours of mails, so that's probably why I didn't see your mail too, Jeffrey. Okay,
Yeah,
but that sounds good to me. That sounds good to me. We should see if yeah, continue on these reviews, and then publish when everybody's happy. Publish an update, and then after that, reach out to the implementers. And how do we do that? I guess that we will need your help, Carsten, to reach out. And if you want us working group chairs to send emails, we can do that. Otherwise, you can do it. I don't know. I think that at that point we'll figure it out, and then right after or at the same time we start a second working group last call.
Right. So for most of the implementations, there is a GitHub repository. So I'm planning to simply create issues on those GitHub repositories.
Yeah, that sounds good.
For some people, I also have contact information, so maybe I can address them directly. And would you be unhappy if I CC the chairs on these things?
No, please do that. Please do that so we.
Okay, well, it's 50 implementations, so it's a lot of mails you are just signing up for.
I'm okay with that. I hope that Jim has a forwarding like folders system, a filtering system in his mailbox.
Well, Jim is not getting my mail anyway, so he's protected. Well, the SPF program. So if I send anything to CBOR chairs, you get it, but Jim doesn't.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'm happy with that. So please do that.
Okay.
That's great.
So when is our next synchronization point?
So the next meeting will be in 2 weeks. So the 29th of January.
Yeah.
At the same time. So by then, hopefully, we'll have a bit more updates on reviews, I guess. I'll try to be quick in responding as well, since you have my review as well. So
good. So do you want to use the next Wednesday slot? We cannot use it for an interim because it's too soon. Could you imagine using that for this coordination call?
Yes, I think that just next Wednesday I have something. I've booked it for something else because it's empty slot. No, I'm free. So yeah, that works for me.
Because that would be a good time because the lake virtual interim is the next day, and maybe synchronizing before that is a good thing
Yeah, yeah.
to do. So let's try to set up something.
So I think I will send an email to because I would like this to be something open to anybody who wants to join, really.
Yes. So I think we should come up with a list of working groups that we will inform about this.
Starting from the IoT directorate is probably a good idea. Just sending an email there and say, hey, we're planning on this unofficial chat.
But I even would like to include the working group meetings, not just the IoT directorate people.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's not a good idea. I don't know.
No, that's exactly what I was thinking too, including anybody who wants to join. But because it's not an official interim, I'm wondering.
It's a hallway meeting.
Yeah, it's a hallway meeting.
Okay, let's exchange a list of working groups we want to address, and then talk to the chairs whether the date is actually good. And then if it turns out to be good, then we can announce it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Which all needs to happen this week.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay. I think that's it for today.
I was, Carsten, where are you on the duplicate detection? I guess maybe I missed something there, but are you working on text or?
As I told Francesca, we had a pretty good discussion in Singapore about that.
Right.
And the result of the discussion was, from my point of view, was essentially that we have working group consensus on doing something I don't agree with. And I have to be very, very careful picking up that consensus properly and not color it by my own view on this. So that's why I really have to go back to the video from the working group meeting and make sure I create text that reflects that. And I haven't been able to do this before today's meeting, but I certainly will be able to in the next couple of days.
Okay.
So the goal is for the next meeting anyway to have it done or have some proposal that be reviewed.
Yes. So Lawrence, do you have a specific position on this, or do you just want to have it done?
No, I had definite thoughts about it, and I'm not quite sure how they sync with what everybody else is thinking, but probably my last email on the subject, last email or two, contains that, which I think it was kind of, the coders have to go into three categories. Either they do duplicate detection, they don't and pass the duplicates up a layer, or they don't do duplicate detection. And what they do could be take first, it could be take last, it could be anything in between, but we can't specify it. It's just they don't do it.
Right. So that was kind of the point of view I went into the discussion with, and the discussion went into a direction being a little bit more demanding on decoders to actually provide the information so an application can detect duplicates. And this is kind of new. We haven't been doing this before. And I think we have to be very, very precise on what exactly we ask decoders to do, because that is probably going to require a change in the majority of the implementations. So it's a big thing.
Well, and then the reason we have that category of decoders that can't do it, that don't do anything, that don't do any duplicate detection, and they don't pass duplicates up, is because programming environments, that's what they support. I mean,
Yes.
the map structure, and I mean, I guess you could just not use the programming environment's map structure, but that's really ugly.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
That's exactly my reservation with this. But
Yeah.
people like Jeffrey are making a very good point that there are a lot of applications that cannot really live with the security problem that this creates.
Yeah.
And we have to develop a position here that is both cognizant of the implementation issue and enabling protocols to be secure in the end.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
Okay.
Okay.
So I put the link to the Lawrence's email in the minutes.
Thank you.
One can see the whole thread there anyway. But yeah. Okay. If there is nothing else, I think we can go ahead and close the meeting.
Thank you all, and see you in 2 weeks, the latest.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.